Welcome to the F1 Debate Show. Who will take the hottest seat in Formula 1? We talk about the drivers on the grid who will replace the world champion at Mercedes next to Lewis Hamilton.
We talk about the French Grand Prix returning to the calendar.
And we reveal the Christmas plans for the F1 Debate Show. The season might be over, but the biggest news is still rolling out of the paddock, and that was that Nico Rosberg will retire from Formula 1. He said that at the FIA prize given in Vienna last week. That was a formal resignation, if you like, to the media and to Mercedes, as he actually collected his Drivers' Championship afterwards. Now, it's absolutely unbelievable news, and we said this in F1 Debate Show episode 35, that the world champion was going to retire. That also means that there will be no active world champion, reigning world champion, on the grid next year, which is going to be absolutely unbelievable. And if Lewis Hamilton is not cheesed off that he didn't win the world championship, he will actually be happy because he hasn't got Nico Rosberg to fight next year, but also he will be the most recent world champion on the grid. Now, obviously, he can't call himself the reigning champion, but that's still a good honour to have. So, obviously, well done, Lewis. But in this episode, we are going to talk about the drivers who will fill his seat, or might fill his seat. Now, obviously, as I said, when Nico Rosberg retired, and we mentioned that last week's episode, it was massive news. But really, I think about a millisecond after he announced his retirement, bigger news came out, and that was who would replace Nico Rosberg at Mercedes. Now, obviously, as you all know, I don't think it needs any clarification, Mercedes are the Constructors' Champions. 3 in a row, you know, it's absolutely unbelievable, and yeah, they won it a month before the season actually ended. Now, and alongside the 3-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, so it can't just be some average Joe off the street. They need to do a lot of digging, and they need to get the right person. So obviously we've got some handful of drivers here that both me and JT really think will actually take the seat next to Lewis Hamilton, and yeah, as I say, sit in the hottest seat, the biggest seat, the seat with most pressure and everything, because they will be sitting where Nico Rosberg once sat. They'll be driving the car that Nico Rosberg once sat. There won't be, because it's a new car, but you know what I mean. In that analogy, you know what I mean. Anyway, so the first news that we're going to start off with is obviously the one that has been rolling about in the last few days, and that is actually that Fernando Alonso of McLaren might be signed at Mercedes. Now, obviously, there's no connection between McLaren and Mercedes anymore. They're still good friends, and obviously Fernando Alonso knows a lot of people in Formula 1, but since the partnership broke off, and obviously they've been using Honda engines for the last 2 years, that is it really. But now Fernando Alonso is one of the most successful Formula 1 drivers on the grid, and yeah, as I say, he's not as most successful as Sebastian Vettel, but Fernando Alonso is one of the most successful on the grid. He might be next to Lewis Hamilton. It would be absolutely amazing. He has a contract with McLaren until 2018, so obviously he would be bought out, but obviously the team is very interested in Fernando Alonso. I mean, who wouldn't be as well? You know, he's one of the most successful, he's very skilled, he's a very nice guy to have on, and you know, he looks good in Mercedes overalls as well. And obviously we've seen all those photodocked photos going around on Facebook and things like that, you know, Fernando's head on Mercedes overalls. So obviously that would be very good to see, and that is very much happy about it. That would also be good for Mercedes as well, because they would actually tie with Ferrari with how many championships they actually have in the team. As you know, Ferrari have 5, 4 from Vettel and 1 from Raikkonen. If Mercedes did that, that means they would have 2 from Alonso and 3 from Hamilton, which obviously would mean they have 5, and that would be fantastic for them. And actually, as well, they would strip away McLaren's World Championships in the drivers, because obviously they would have Stoffel Van Dorn with 0, and the replacement for Fernando Alonso, depending who it is, obviously, I can't imagine it being a world champion, but depending who it is, will probably have 0 as well. But obviously, yes, so that's the big story, that Fernando Alonso might be signed by Mercedes. Now, obviously, this would be absolutely unbelievable to see. I really would be happy to see that. But obviously, Fernando Alonso, if he's not happy at McLaren, then why would he go to Mercedes? He's getting on a bit, you know, he hasn't been having the best car. But that is obviously that's the nail on the head, really. If he's not happy with the car, you know, he's not with one with the car. So maybe Mercedes is the best option. Obviously, that would be absolutely amazing to see. But it's all rumours at the moment. I say Toto and Nicky and Paddy, obviously the 3 people that basically will, you know, decide if you're in or out, are very happy with Fernando Alonso. The second driver that is definitely spiked interest, and he hasn't been mentioned loads, but obviously being a Mercedes test driver, being a very successful driver, getting the teams The only point this season doing very well is Pascal Wehrlein. Obviously, Pascal hasn't formally been signed for Mana yet, but obviously he probably will be. But regardless of that, Pascal Wehrlein, DTM World Champion, obviously very young, 21 years of age, will possibly fill that seat. Now, he's a Mercedes test driver, as we all know, so why not now? Why wouldn't? I think, obviously, rewind the clock a few months back, when obviously the Mercedes pair were very much happy with each other. Obviously the drivers were there, they weren't going anywhere, and Nico Rosberg actually signed an extension until 2018. So then Pascal didn't have the chance to get in the team. He couldn't break through. But now that there's one seat vacant, and basically Toto has kind of promised Pascal the chance of moving up. He's almost actually said word for word, "I promise I'll get you into the team whenever, whatever year, and obviously we'll get you in." So now that the seat's filled, it just seems a bit stupid that they wouldn't fill it with Pascal. Obviously, their Mercedes program, Mercedes test drive, Mercedes junior program. Obviously, he's been there with the team. He's backed them all the way. Been brought into Formula One by Mercedes, and I just think this is probably one of the best moves that Mercedes should do. Obviously, Fernando Alonso has the skill. He has the World Championships. It's the literal choice, but the real choice, you're getting your head around it, should be Pascal Wehrlein. Now, obviously, JT, we've all heard the news that Fernando Alonso might be signed.
Yep.
I mean, this will be absolutely unbelievable. Obviously, you are a McLaren fan as well. You've seen Fernando at a few years, and basically all the good that a double world champion like him has brought on the team. Do you think it would be a good thing for Mercedes to have Fernando in the team, or what are your views about having Nando in Mercedes?
Well, I think it'll be a very good move should Mercedes sign him. He's still a very good driver despite everything he's been through at McLaren in recent years. 2 world championships to his name, obviously with Renault back in 2005, 2006. He had a good season with McLaren in 2007. His Renault days, wasn't really successful when he returned there for 2 years in 08 and 09. Then he went to Ferrari and very nearly won the World Championships in 2010 and 2012. And obviously, Fernando Alonso is very good at doing starts. He's very good at clawing positions back. He showed that at McLaren this year. He's done that in a car that really has no power. Not as good as what where it wants to be. And so it just proved that that. He hasn't lost anything with age, Fernando Alonso. He's still got very much experience there. I think he's 36 years old now, so he is getting on a little bit. But I mean, Mercedes should really consider him. Toto Wolff has even said, "I am considering Fernando Alonso. I would like him to be at the team." So that kind of gives us us fans an indication, right? They must be going, obviously, speaking to his agent and everything, maybe looking at an option for Fernando Alonso. But obviously, you've got to think about, well, if they do sign Fernando Alonso, then, well, how long is he going to be there for? Because, as I said, he's 35, 36. He's only got probably a few years left in him. So how long is he going to be there for? Obviously, Lewis Hamilton is getting on a bit. So they're going to eventually probably have some of the oldest pairing, joint age oldest pairing in Formula One. So obviously, they must be looking to the future with that. And maybe the only reason I could say with that is if they do sign him, then Pascal Wehrlein is waiting to come into the ranks, because he's had one season of Formula One, a full season of Formula One with Mana. Obviously, Mana having a Mercedes engine, they obviously had a bit of a deal with Mercedes to allow Pascal Wehrlein to go there to get some experience. And at the time, I don't think Mercedes were really expecting to use him very, very soon, or maybe have an option to use him, because, as Elsie said, Rosberg signed a multi-year contract extension up until 2018, the same as Lewis Hamilton. And I think that's when a lot of people thought. I think that is when Wehrlein is going to go to Mercedes in 2018 to replace one of these drivers. However, that's all changed now because Rosberg's now left. There's a seat available, and obviously you should never rule out Pascal Wehrlein, a development driver with Mercedes. He's been at DTM, so he's done a few tests with them. Obviously, most recently as the tyre test for the 2017 tyres. So he's got some mileage in the cars. He's got some good backing with them. He's worked with Rosberg, so it all makes sense for Wehrlein to go, as it does Alonso. But there's another driver that I think has a good chance of having that seat at Mercedes, and that is Valtteri Bottas. Now, a few of you are probably a bit like, well, why Valtteri Bottas, JT? How does he have any connection with Mercedes? Well, I didn't know this until recently, until obviously Rosberg announces his retirement, that he has actually connections with Toto Wolff and Niki Lauda. He actually works with them. They're actually his management team. So I didn't even know that. So I was like, all right. So then that explains why he's linked with the seat. Obviously, Williams being partnered with Mercedes, they could do some sort of maybe a deal perhaps. So an engine deal if they do take on Pascal Wehrlein, Valtteri Bottas. That obviously leaves another vacant seat at Williams. Obviously, he signed a 1-year contract with them, with Williams. So again, you could argue that maybe Bottas will want to stay at Williams. But then again, everybody wants to be at this Mercedes seat. You know, I think everyone on the grid, apart from Raikkonen and Daniel Kvyat, has actually put their name forward for that vacant seat. So it is a very popular seat to be at. You're actually sitting on the throne, basically. You are like royalty if you go for that seat. So obviously Valtteri Bottas is linked with there. There's a few other drivers thrown in as well, like linked with it. Obviously Max Verstappen. Obviously he was rejected by the team when he was 16 years old, I heard. So I don't think that he'll get it. Ocon is linked with it because obviously again, he, like Wehrlein, he has connections with Mercedes. He was their development driver as well. So again, he's just signed a contract with Force India. So I don't think he'll go there. Sebastian Vettel, obviously a 4-time world champion, again having very tough times at Ferrari, you know, apparently having a fallout with Mauricio Arriva-Bene at the end of the season. Maybe could start something new at Mercedes, perhaps. Who knows? I don't think that will happen. So I think the two drivers we need to definitely look at is what LC said, Alonso and Pascal Wehrlein. So in my overall opinion, I generally think Wehrlein will get the seat. I say that, but really, if you look at it, you could say, right, well, Alonso could get that seat so that Wehrlein is ready. You know, so Mercedes could like keep him on the sidelines until Wehrlein is ready, and then obviously have Alonso in for 2 years and obviously get rid of him and then bring Wehrlein in. Should they think Wehrlein isn't ready? But Wehrlein has already said that he is ready. So you know that's a complicated thing. And also, guys, here's a bit of a dilemma to get your heads right. So Fernando Alonso is obviously linked with this seat. Now, he's odds-on favourite to get it. However, McLaren have said he's not going, and Alonso himself said he wasn't going, but he said this at a PR event with Honda when he did one where I think it was when he was riding a bike with was it Rossi, I believe? I don't know who it was with. He was some sort of MotoGP world champion, I think. So he said no, but people are like, well, why would he say that? Why would he say he's leaving at a PR event? You know, why would he do that stupid thing? So McLaren have said he's not going, but Toto Wolff has said that he's still considering it. So again, you've got that. Obviously, Pascal Wehrlein, you know, a development driver for Mercedes, heavily linked with that seat. Is he ready yet? I don't know. 22 years old. You know, you know that's something you need to consider. And obviously, as I said, Max Verstappen as well, linked with that seat. Very talented driver, but I can't see Red Bull letting him go. You know, people have been saying, "Oh, get Verstappen in," because of his abilities, and it's like, well, really, should he? Because Red Bull will be thinking to themselves, if we let Verstappen go to Mercedes, then that means we need a good driver to fill in this seat because we need to challenge them guys, and we need to keep Max Verstappen. You know, so I don't know how this is going to go, but my overall opinion, I think it is going to be, excuse me, I think it's going to be Pascal Wehrlein. I hope it is. You know, after what he did at Manor, good driver, good future ahead of him. So I think he is ready. He said he's ready. I believe he's ready. 22 years old. He can, you know, generally show what he can do. I mean, look at Daniel Kvyat. He had one season in Toro Rosso, went to Red Bull. Max Verstappen, he sort of had a one season, like one and a bit seasons before going to Red Bull. So it just proves that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're old enough, you're ready. Basically, that's what I think. You've experienced enough, and you know what, you're ready. So Elsie, heading back to you just for a bit. I said Valtteri Bottas. Do you think Valtteri Bottas has a good shout of that seat? You know, because of him having links with Toto Wolff and Niki Lauda. Do you think Bottas has a good chance of getting that seat?
I don't know, JT. I mean, obviously, like you, I do think it'll be Pascal Wehrlein, obviously, because he's Mercedes junior program, and obviously, and the big thing that you said, obviously, which got him was, you know, he is ready. I mean, the thing is like, I know Mercedes are a big team, obviously 3 times constructors champions, but I don't think they can hold out forever. And obviously, as I said, I mean, they need somebody in, and they need somebody in. They're not kind of quick, really. I'd say they need someone in by, you know, at least New Year, because obviously we need to get them to the factory in Brackley. They need to work with them. They need to work with the car, and then obviously they need to get them ready. And then basically they need everything, you know, finalised before winter testing in February. So obviously, They need to do that, and I think it'll be Pascal. Anyway, so Bottas, I'm not sure, but I would say no. And obviously, there's two reasons for that. Well, one, because obviously he's with Williams. Obviously, he is a Williams driver, really. I think he's happy with Williams, he's comfortable with Williams, and I don't think he wants to take much away from them. Obviously, but, you're using a Mercedes engine. Again, they're a Mercedes works team. It would be good for him to move up. But the biggest thing, also, that I think, is that he is now the leader of the team. And obviously, you've got Lance Stroll in, who's 18. So, JT, if Valtteri Bottas left, Lance Stroll would technically be the leader of the team. Because obviously, if you like, and I know obviously Lance would be, and then whoever they got to replace him, if it wasn't somebody on the grid, it might be Massa. He might decide, he might say. To be honest, I mean, that's not a stupid thing, that's not a stupid thing, because Massa might look at this and go, well, hang on a minute, you've got Lance, who's obviously he's not experienced in Formula 1, he's experienced in racing, he's 18, but he's not been in Formula 1 before. If Massa thinks that, they need another driver, they either get one in, or they don't, and basically, they like Frank or Claire, they might ask Massa to come back. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, so I was saying that Lance would actually, technically, because he was there first, he was signed first, would be the leader of the team. But then it also means that they'd have no real leader of the team. So I think Valtteri will stay where he is, or at least for the time being, until Williams are happy enough maybe to let him go. But if it's Alonso, just if it's Alonso, I mean, I think that, as you said, really, you hit the nail on the head there. They'll be doing this search again in the next few years. Possibly, probably, if they do Alonso, to replace Alonso, and then they'll also be doing it to replace Hamilton, because as you said, and obviously as we've said before, now Jensen's gone, now Felipe's gone, the oldest is Kimi Raikkonen, and then as soon as you're heading down, you're going to Hamilton and Vettel. Who's older? Is it Vettel out of those two? Hamilton's out of those two.
I think they're the same age, so I don't know who was born first, so I'm not too sure about that one.
So you don't all have to go at the same time,
Exactly,
that doesn't mean anything. But obviously, if Alonso goes, they will be the two oldies in the team, and technically, Mercedes are a new team. They formed in 2010. Do they really want two oldies in the team? But obviously, Alonso will be great. Verline will be fantastic, and that's what me and JT are backing. This video is to say that, we think it's Verline. He's ready, he's a Mercedes driver, and it will be fantastic. He's not a world champion. It's like they are building someone again, JT. It reminds me of like 2010, 2011, when they had just no one really. And then 2012, obviously, when you had Nico's win, obviously Matt's podium in Monaco, that could have been a win if you never had a grid penalty from Clyde and Senna. It's a bit like that. But yeah, so Verline's ready, I reckon. Bottas would stay with the team, and I think that's going to be the same for everyone else. Just the last thing before we move on, JT. Obviously, people saying that Vettel will get the seat, things like that. I reckon it's not. I reckon just people are getting too ahead of themselves. Thinking that. But obviously, that is a massive thing, though. What will Vettel do either for next season or for the seasons to come, unless Ferrari get a better car. He needs to be in a winning car. That's what Vettel does. He's four world championships. He needs a really, really good car. He won last year, but he never won in 2015 even. He never won in 2016, or last year if you want to call it. Last season. I count that as last year. To be honest, I might say last year,
last
meaning
season.
2016. Last season. So it'll be Pascal Verlaine even. But JT, Pascal will do. I hope he does get this seat. Obviously, we hope him well, and to be honest, I could see him doing quite well. It would be weird though. I think that obviously there's two silver cars leading. Now Rosberg is a world champion, but technically though, get your head around this, right, guys? Rosberg has never actually done a lap in Formula 1 where he's a world champion. He's done about half of a lap, and that's obviously when he crossed. He's done about half a lap, because obviously that's when he crossed the line in Abu Dhabi, got the world championship, but then he stopped just before the start-finish line and did his donuts in Parc Fermé. Technically, he hasn't done a full racing lap as the world champion. So that's weird, JT, isn't it?
It is weird, to be fair. Obviously, I was very disappointed when I heard the news. Just quickly, Elsie. Obviously, we've still got time on all that. Just quickly, give us your reaction of when you actually first heard that Rosberg was leaving. Because obviously, we mentioned it last week, and now we're saying it this week. Obviously, about who could replace it. But what was your general reaction when you first heard Rosberg was retiring?
Well, I was at work, JT, and I had my phone out, which I hope no one from work hears that.
Your boss is watching.
And I saw it. I just, from BBC Sport, obviously, as we all do, we have notifications on the phones and stuff like that, and it just came up, Rosberg retires, and obviously, I mean, there's loads of not ridiculous ones, but loads of minor ones, loads of things like that. A lot of them say things like, rhetorical questions, and then catch us on this, the programme tonight, blah blah blah. But this was a massive one. Huge. Rosberg retires from Formula 1, and obviously, I'll tell you something as well. I mean, the first thing I wanted to do is literally start recording and then find out JT's reaction. Obviously, he'd already texted at that point on Facebook. He said Rosberg retires! Exclamation, like loads of exclamation marks. Like, this is an unbelievable moment. This is like this was a massive. This was like when we find out Max and Daniel were swapping, and obviously when Max won the race. Obviously, I know JT went ballistic. Again, all the texts I've got from him, I'm saying like Max is won. Oh my god! When are we recording? But absolutely unbelievable. So JT, how was your reaction? I mean, I guess that would be mad.
I was amazing because again, I just finished work at 3 o'clock UK time, and I went to check the football scores. Really. I was about 5-10 minutes after work. I was just cleaning everything down. I went on Sky Sports, on the Sky Sports app, checked the football scores, like I said, and all I seen, the big top story was all I seen in like gold light banner, black writing, champion Rosberg quits F1. I was stunned. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react. I was just like, wow. Even then, I just quickly glanced at before because obviously I wasn't really fully finished, but I was at that time where I was like, it doesn't matter if I get before or not. And then
I hope your boss isn't watching as well, JT.
He's probably listening actually because he's just like downstairs or something. But yes, and I was just left stunned. I was not expecting it. I was like, there was no words to describe how any F1 fan was feeling. I mean, Martin Brundle said that he thought it was a hoax. When I was listening, it was like, wow, I don't even believe this. This is rubbish. This, and then he's seen it on Sky Sports, and he was like, this is real. And even Ted Kravitz said this, and I kind of found this interesting. He said that nobody had an inkling, nobody had even a whiff that Rosberg would retire at any stage. But he said when Ted Kravitz asked Nico Rosberg, what number are you going to have in your car next season? Is it going to be the number 1, which is obviously designed for the world champion, or is it going to be your number 6? Because remember, when Hamilton won, obviously the introduction of numbers came in 2014, where the driver could pick their own number to have for the rest of their F1 career. Vettel had number 1 for 14, but since then the number 1 hasn't appeared on the world champion's car, since 2014 when Vettel had it. Because 2015, Hamilton said, after he won his championship 2014, Hamilton said, I'm keeping 44, so nobody had the number 1. So Ted Kravitz asked him, and he didn't re-answer it. He just sort of strung the question out, like his answer out. And Ted Kravitz was like, well, that was very bizarre, because it was like, why didn't answer the question? It's either number 1 or number 6. So that was the only indication that Rosberg was going to retire. But even then, nobody had a clue. And I was like, baffled. It took us about 3 or 4 days to actually sink in that Rosberg was retiring, but it was absolutely mental, Elsie. It just put the icing on the cake, the cherry on top, as to how dramatic 2016 has been as a season. It was just wow, honestly, Elsie. I don't think we'll ever have a situation like this as well. And also, I do believe that Rosberg is the first world champion to retire after winning the world championship. The following season is the first one since Alain Prost, since he did it in '93. So again, some more records there to add, some more stat attacks, but. It was crazy, Elsie. Definitely a one. I think definitely this season, 2016, will be a season to remember. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Probably as good as the one in 2012. Definitely. I mean, that was great. Just the last thing before obviously we move on to the calendar is JT put something on the channel a few days ago. Just when we're on the topic of race numbers, what would your race number be? Comment below.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't get many.
Oh yeah.
We don't get many comments.
Just brief. Obviously, this is off topic here, but obviously, Stoffel Van Dorn has chosen number 2. And Lance Stroll has chosen number 18 for his car. So yeah, if you were in Formula 1 and you had a number and you had to choose your number, obviously you say you come to Formula 1, you can choose an F1 driver's number if you want to. Why? Tell us why. Leave your suggestions in the comments below. Tell us why, and obviously we'll reply to them. I think we've already said ours before when we discussed the game. I think Elsie said 91 because of Schumacher, and I said 10 because of just how it's just been on my childhood. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the next topic we're going to go on to is the news that the French Grand Prix is going to return to the calendar in 2018, and it's going to be held at the circuit of Paul Ricard in the south of France, just south of Marseille. Obviously, it'll be predecessing the old French Grand Prix, which was held at Magny-Cours. The last time it was held there was in 2008, so I haven't had a French Grand Prix since. And I remember that the French Grand Prix was under a lot of criticism as to how boring the track was, especially at Magny-Cours when you played it on the games or if you watched it on the television. Paul Ricard, on the other hand, you probably think to yourself, I've heard of this circuit, but I haven't really watched it before. You know what I mean? It used to hold the French Grand Prix. The last time it was held in 1990, before it moved to Magny-Cours. And obviously Paul Ricard has been held for loads of testing events as well. I think pre-season has been held there before in the past, in the early 2000s, and also most recently as the tyre test. I think Pascal Wehrlein did like loads of laps testing the 2017 Pirelli tyres there, so it's got a lot of history in Formula 1. It's been held there before. So obviously the French Grand Prix coming back to the calendar in 2018, which I'm very excited about, because the French Grand Prix, I believe it's the oldest Grand Prix in ever, really. I think French Grand Prix has been held the most times ever out of any other Grand Prix event. Obviously predecessing Formula 1 back in the 1920s, 1910s, when motor racing was just at an early peak, really. The French, obviously, Grand Prix, it comes from the name Grand Prize, which is French. So that's pretty much where it integrates from. So having the French Grand Prix back, I think that is very good for motorsport. I'm very happy this is back. This is where, I mean, people say that, motorsport was born at Silverstone. Formula 1 was born at Silverstone, not motor racing. Motor racing was really born in France. Renault, Renault Bugatti, and companies like that who really came through the early days of motor racing, of Grand Prix racing, back in the 1900s, 1910s. That's where it all started. So the French Grand Prix, it's like it's almost like it was missing something in Formula 1. Bring back the French Grand Prix. Very happy about. When I also heard, I was very confused, because I remember Bernie Ecclestone saying that he wants less European races in the calendar. The French Grand Prix is in Europe. What's going on, Bernie? Tell me more about this idea of yours. But obviously the German Grand Prix is now gone. I don't think it's come back at all, unless they bring it back somewhere else. There's news that Malaysia is going off the calendar in 2018. So again, there's few tracks leaving there, so bringing back an old Grand Prix track is very, very good. I'm looking at the design now. I think it looks very nice. It looks very racy as well. Long straights. You got 1, 2, 3 long straights there. Nice corners as well. About turn 6 and turn 7 looks like a very good section as well. Also, and I like to see a chicane. Always spot a chicane as well. So very, very happy. There's loads of chicanes in that circuit. Very, you go JT. You mentioned the chicanes. Yeah, you tell him. You tell him. But yes, LC. Obviously, French Grand Prix is finally returning. I was a bit surprised at this, because I never really thought the French Grand Prix would ever return, and if it did, I thought it would be at Magny-Cours. So what's your overall opinions on this? Do you think this is good for the sport that the French Grand Prix is coming back, or maybe do you think I would rather have it somewhere else? I'd rather have the German Grand Prix than the French Grand Prix. What's your overall opinion?
I'm happy. I'm very happy now. Obviously, as you said, Formula 1 has a lot of roots in Formula 1. To be honest, as JT said, obviously France, that was before Formula 1 even invented. Obviously, Monaco Grand Prix as well, they had that. It was 1929 was the first one there. So obviously, and Monaco is like, principality in France. They're definitely linked with Formula 1. The kind of where Formula 1 came from is very hazy. No country really owns Formula 1. But obviously, we know for a fact that if Silverstone, Britain is a big one. If Silverstone can't go, Monza can't go. To be honest, I was even thinking Germany can't go, because obviously there's been car manufacturers from there, things like that. They've had a lot of drivers from there. They haven't had many world champions, but obviously, as you know, the 3 world champions that they've had, Vettel, Schumacher, and Rosberg. Obviously Schumacher and Vettel even, and Rosberg obviously the most recent as well. Obviously Vettel's 4 and Michael's 7. Sorry, they've had a lot of pedigree with that, and obviously Bernie Ecclestone's rubbish about less European races. But that's the thing though, JD. I mean, obviously Formula 1 is in terms of the tracks, it's getting very new and things like that. But the French Grand Prix, obviously seeing it now, it reminds me of when they brought back the Mexican Grand Prix, obviously in 2015, which was fantastic, because obviously Mexico, as you know, used in the very early, obviously in the 80s and things like that, with people like Nigel Mansell and some amazing drivers like that. So was France, and obviously it was used at the old circuit, but absolutely unbelievable. It's good that they're bringing that back, and obviously they will be renovated and things like that to the standard of what Bernie Ecclestone wants, which is like a newer track, which is strange because he's like ancient. But it obviously that's what they want. It's good that it's back to this old school type of racing, because that's what we want. I mean, we love circuits like obviously Baku and Azerbaijan. Obviously, I've said that it's one of my favourites as well. Seeing it, looking at driving it on the game, as well as obviously seeing it in real life on the telly, it's fantastic. But we need back these old school circuits. But obviously, JT, I don't think the French Grand Prix should overrule the German Grand Prix or vice versa. But just on the topic of that, though, we do need the German Grand Prix back in Formula 1. And I would like to. The German Grand Prix going. I'd like to see it. Yeah, I'd like to see it at Nürburgring, and obviously we'd all love to see it at the full. Full 10-kilometre track. Yeah, definitely. I don't know why though. That's the thing. I don't know why. you know, I mean, at the end of the day, like the actual, technicalities of it. But obviously that's for another episode. But we definitely back it, even if it's at the short Nürburgring. Anywhere in Germany, it needs just to be in Germany. Germany needs a Grand Prix, but I say the French Grand Prix is fantastic. Tracks, obviously, manufacturers like Renault, that'll be their home race. Obviously, Romain Grosjean, he'll have a home race as well, and Esteban Ocon, that'll be fantastic for them. So yeah, it's going to be obviously really great for that, and yeah, it's just another European race. So Germany's gone, but at least we're filling it with another Grand Prix, an all-skill track, a fantastic track as well, like Hockenheim was. But obviously that was rejuvenated, got rid of big sector, a very long when it went into the woods. So the last thing that we're going to mention, and this is news that we've been dying to tell you guys about, is our F1 debate show plans for over the Christmas break. Yes. Now we need to bring you season review of the team and the whole season, all the drama and things like that. And we decided that we're going to bring you that over Christmas, and we're going to do a team-by-team deconstruction of how the team's gone through the series and their results and things like that in each video. So obviously that would be 11 teams, 11 videos. So the plan is we're going to start on the 14th of December with Manor. We're going to go up in ascending order all the way to Mercedes on the 24th, and then we're going to do an F1 Debate Show Christmas special on the 25th. And now, as you know, the people out there might have worked out that is a 12-day block. And that is because we are calling it the 12 days of Christmas, or at least the 12 days of the F1 debate show. So yeah, that is the plan, guys. So obviously, as you know, the video comes out today on the 10th. Saturday, you have a few days to get prepared, get ready, get your popcorn out for the F1 debate show. And then, yeah, it is on, so on the 14th, we crack on with the review of Manor, the team that came in last place. And then every single day you will see me and JT, we'll be talking about a new team that when we move up the constructors standings, obviously from Manor all the way through to the best of the rest, Red Bull, and then the champions Mercedes on Christmas Eve, and then our very special episode which will come on the 25th. Now, obviously, speaking of the F1 debate show, we will have no F1 debate show coming out on the 17th, which is the next Saturday, so obviously a week from today. As you know, they run every Saturday. There won't be one on the 17th. That is obviously because we've got the 12 days running. That we also won't. We'll have our Christmas, our F1 debate show. We won't have it on the 24th, which again is that following Saturday. But that is because that will just move a day to the Sunday, which obviously is the 25th, which is obviously Christmas Day. So that is our plans for the 12 days of Christmas and the 12 days of F1 debate show. Call it what you like, but make sure you tell your friends, and we will be sharing all the videos on our Facebook site as well. So yeah, you can like it, please share to your friends. Obviously we hope they enjoy it as well. And yeah, so obviously Formula 1 fans out there, if you don't want to see a 4-hour review of me and JT talking about the season, which is, that's why we're doing it, because me and JT know that you guys don't want to see a 5-hour review that we're going to do of the season. So we thought we'd bring you in like 20-minute videos about the team. Anyway, so that is our plans of the 12 days of the F1 debate show, the 12 days of Christmas, whatever you like to call it. And yes, so that is our plans for that. So see, anyway guys, so we thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed this F1 debate show. Please catch us in a few days' time as I say, we start with the team in last place, which is Manor, and enjoy our mini-series, our first mini-series since F1 British Week. But guys, we assure you, it's going to go much better than that. Anyway guys, so thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the 12 days. Bye guys.
See you later guys.